A very rough morning for Donald Trump. He gave an interview with Politico where he said the economy is A+++++. He says it's never been better. Here, play this clip.
Pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting.
I'm going to go show you more about what went down this morning. Just a reminder, hit subscribe, help the Midas Touch Network get 6 million subscribers on this YouTube channel. As you know, we're under attack by the Trump regime and by the MAGA cult. They want us shut down. So please, you may think you're subscribed, but you may not actually be subscribed. Double check and hit subscribe now. Donald Trump is next asked by this reporter, holiday shoppers are really concerned about the prices. Donald Trump goes to this reporter, stop being dramatic. People don't feel that. Stop with the drama. Here, play this clip.
To the people, not to the insurance companies.
So right now people are buying their holiday presents. They're planning
Look, don't be dramatic.
No.
Don't be dramatic.
They're planning their budgets for next year, Mr. President.
I know. And what I want to do.
Stop with the drama. What are you talking about? People are suffering right now. I know that you're building golden ballrooms for yourself and golden arches, and you're doing great Gatsby parties at Mar-a-Lago. But you know what? People are suffering right now. So how dare you? Then Donald Trump is asked by Politico, do you believe the second strike was necessary to kill the survivors on September 2nd of the first strike? By the way, I believe the entire operation is a war crime. And here's what Donald Trump says. Let's play this clip.
Have you watched the video?
Stopping. I watched everything. Yeah, I watch everything. I see a lot of things.
And do you believe that second strike was necessary?
Well, it looked like they were trying to turn back over the boat, but I don't get involved in that. That's up to them.
Next, Donald Trump is asked by Politico if he can rule out a ground invasion of Venezuela or other places. And here's what he says. Here, play this clip.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it. Why would I talk to you, an extremely unfriendly publication, if you want to call it Politico, that got $8 million from Obama to keep it afloat? Why would I do that? Why would I talk about that to Politico? I mean, I'm doing this because you picked me as a man for Europe.
I'm asking for transparency for their American people, because a lot of folks are, people are wondering
I am the most transparent politician maybe in the world.
A lot of folks are wondering what our goals are in
Sure,
Venezuela.
but I don't want to talk to you about military strategy.
So that he attacks Politico there. And then this is what he has to say about NATO. He says, NATO calls me daddy. At the same time, Donald Trump put in the latest national security strategy for the next year that it's his goal to end the perception and the reality of NATO as a permanent organization, aka destroy NATO. Here, play this clip.
So how involved are you going to get? I mean, could we see you getting involved in European elections,
I want to run the United States. I don't want to run Europe. I'm involved in Europe very much.
Might you endorse
NATO
candidates?
calls me daddy.
Then Donald Trump just goes and starts attacking Zelenskyy. And Donald Trump says Zelenskyy just needs to start accepting that he's a loser and that he's losing and Ukraine will lose this thing. Just think about how traitorous and treasonous that scumbag is in the Oval Office right now. This just pisses me off. Here, play this clip.
If Zelenskyy rejects this deal, is there a timeline? Is there a point at which you say, okay?
Well, he's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. When you're losing, because you're losing.
Do you think Ukraine has lost this war?
Well, they've lost territory. Long before I got here, they lost a whole strip of seafront, big seafront. I mean, you look at the maps. I've been here for 10 months, but you go back 10 months and take a look. They lost that whole strip. It's now a bigger strip. It's a wider strip, but they lost a lot of land, and it's very good land, too, that they lost. You certainly wouldn't say it's a victory. I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land they lost.
Then Donald Trump says that he believes that Russia is in a much better negotiating position and is much stronger than Ukraine. I don't know, maybe because you're helping Russia. Maybe because Russia is you taking Russian plans of surrender and trying to force it on Ukraine. Maybe it's because you're saying that the sphere of influence of Europe should now be controlled by Russia. Maybe it's because of your ultimate betrayal. Here, play this clip.
Your team has been going back and forth between Putin and Zelenskyy with various drafts of a peace deal. Which country right now is in the stronger negotiating position?
Well, there can be no question about it. It's Russia. It's a much bigger country. It's a war that should have never happened. Frankly, it wouldn't have happened if I were president, and it didn't happen for 4 years. I watched that taking place, and I said, wow, they're going to cause some problems here. And it started, and it could have evolved into World War III, frankly. I think it's probably not going to be happening now. I think if I weren't president, you could have had World War III. I think you would have had a much bigger problem than you have right now. But right now, it's a big problem. It's a big problem for Europe, and they're not handling it well.
Then Donald Trump compares Zelenskyy to P.T. Barnum. He's like P.T. Barnum. He just takes our money, and that's why we don't give him money anymore. Here, play this clip.
He's a great salesman. I call him P.T. Barnum. You know who P.T. Barnum was, right?
I do.
One of the greatest on earth. He could sell any product at any time. That was his expression. I can sell any product at any time. It was true. He said, doesn't matter whether it works or not. But he's P.T. Barnum. You know, he got crooked Joe Biden to give him $350 billion. And look what it got. It got him about 25% of his country is missing.
Then Donald Trump attacks Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he says, I just don't have time for her. She's a traitor. Marjorie Trader Brown, she's rotten, and she wants to call me like 3 times a day. I don't want to speak with that traitor. Here, play this clip.
You know, people with low IQs like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a low IQ person. When she says it's too, but she was a loyal person until I wasn't able to answer her phone calls because I'm just too busy to answer people's phone calls. You can't call me 3 times a day.
Then Marjorie Taylor Greene responds on CNN, and she says that I feel very sorry for him to have such hate in his heart. Here, play this clip.
Well, actually, Wolf, I feel very sorry for President Trump. I genuinely do. It has to be a hard place for someone that is constantly so hateful and puts so much vitriol, name calling, and really tells lies about people in order to try to get his way or win some kind of fight. And I think that's exactly what's wrong in America today. That's what's wrong in this toxic political environment that has ripped our country apart. And I personally think that that's poor leadership from a president. It's a very bad demeanor, and Americans are very tired of it.
And then she talks about Donald Trump calling her a traitor. Let's play this clip right here.
Because when I hear him talk like that about you and insult you and attack you like that, I worry about your security and your family's security. And you've been getting some increasing threats, right?
Yes, and that's what I take so seriously. As a Christian, I'm not angry at the president. It's easy for me to say a prayer for him and forgive him. But the part that I have had a very hard time with is the fact that he called me a traitor. And because of his words, that brought serious threats against myself and my family. We had a pipe bomb threat on my home, a pipe bomb threat on my family construction company and staff, and had multiple pizza doxings. But the serious one was the direct death threats on my son. And I think that goes beyond anyone's arguments or disagreements or politics. All of our children and our families' safety should matter to anyone, no matter if they're mad at us or disagree with us. I think that should be something we respect.
One more reminder, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You see why the Trump regime wants to destroy us. You see why corporate news wants us gone, because we're reporting on the facts right now, and we fact check this stuff, and we come with receipts. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Donald Trump is then asked, so are you going to pick a new Fed chair based on their guarantee that they will lower interest rates? And Donald Trump says yes. And let's be very clear, folks, that being a prerequisite versus the actual market conditions, that's what leads to great recessions and depressions. Although let's be also clear, most of the country right now is in a great recession or a depression right now, based on how 99% of Americans feel, not the billionaires who have gotten richer. Here, play this clip.
You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump. But
So
the
you've
reason he
spoken
doesn't
with your
like
potential-
Trump, well, the reason he doesn't like Trump is because I hit him hard because he's doing a bad job.
So you've talked to your potential candidates.
We're fighting through interest rates. Look, he's a negative, but this country is doing so well. Again, We have $18 trillion being invested.
All right, it's time to bring in the chief propagandist, Caroline Levitt, so she could try to lie and say, oh, thanks to dear leader Donald, China has agreed to purchase soybeans from America. Really, Caroline? Because under former President Biden, guess what was happening? China was purchasing 27 million metric tons of soybeans. Under Trump, it was 0 because of his trade war against the world. China knew how to perfectly outmaneuver Trump. And now they're saying, oh, they'll buy some back. How much have they bought back this year? Let's assume they buy 5 million metric tons of soybeans this year. Guess what? That would be 22 million metric tons less. But I guess in the Trump world of fraud, you want a standing ovation. Here, play this clip.
Another huge win for our farmers following his successful meeting with President Xi in South Korea, where Trump convinced President Xi to continue purchasing or begin purchasing again American soybeans, which is something China wasn't doing under the last administration because they had no respect for our President Biden or for the country at the time. But now they know President Trump is not messing around. He's going to stand up for American farmers and American families. And so those purchases have begun from China, and American soybeans are being exported from the United States as we speak because of President Trump. He promised the farmers he would be there for them. He is delivering on that promise.
And not only that, but then Trump rewards Xi Jinping by allowing China to purchase America's H200 products, these GPUs, these incredibly valuable semiconductor chips that just yesterday, when Donald Trump announced the sale of the NVIDIA semiconductor chips, which were highly classified American national security interests, just yesterday, at the same day Trump announced this, the DOJ arrested H200 semiconductor chip smugglers the same day Trump legalized their exports. Look, Operation Gatekeeper disrupts trafficking network and seizes more than $50 million in advanced GPUs destined for China and other restricted locations. And then yesterday, Trump goes, I've informed Xi of China that the United States will allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 products. You know how badly that's going to screw us? So let me understand the plan. Start a trade war with China and the rest of the world. U.S. farmers get destroyed. Beg China to start buying soybeans again by giving them our advanced AI chips they desperately need. And then what? Do you see how this guy is destroying the United States at every single level right here? One other thing I want you all to be focused on tonight, a major mayor's race in Miami where the Democratic candidate has actually, don't get too overconfident, but a Democratic candidate is favored to win. Democrat Eileen Higgins will face off against Republican Emilio Gonzalez on election day. This could be the first time that race gets flipped in like 30 years to blue. Will the blue tsunami continue? We'll have ongoing coverage here, as always, on the Midas Touch Network. Reminder, hit subscribe. Help us get to 6 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.